Hello and welcome to Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers podcast, your number one podcast for women reclaiming their life by healing mother wounds and stepping into their power. I'm Matilda and I'm your host. I'm an inner transformation mentor supporting women reclaiming their fullness through the one-on-one 10 weeks program and through Reclaim Your Fullness online community. To know more about these offerings, sign up to the newsletter or visit the website womenreclaimingtheirfullness.me. In this episode today, you will get the quickest, most effective formula to stop the people-pleasing pattern that rules the life of so many daughters of narcissistic mothers. So, to get started, let me ask you, are you a people-pleaser? Do you run yourself to exhaustion to make sure everyone around you is good and forgetting about yourself in the process? Are you the last priority of your day or of your life? People-pleasing is exhausting and painful. And if you have recognized yourself as a people-pleaser, you know how that impacts every single interaction in your life, at work, in friendship, within your family, and in romantic relationships. What is the end result of people-pleasing when left unchecked? You become the doormat in every relationship, and your needs never matter. And most of all, you absolutely can't be yourself, as that is sure to displease many people around you. Especially now that they're used to the people-pleaser you, they've come to know you that way. So that fear that kind of starts the whole people-pleasing pattern of wanting to make sure that everyone has the best version of you and gets their need met, so they stick around you. They've come to know you that way, so that fear now it's even more in a way, like if you change that behavior, what's gonna happen? What are the main signs of people pleasing? I do have other episodes on this podcast on this topic, and I will include the links in the description of this episode. But here is a quick rundown of the main signs for you to know how to recognize this pattern. So we start with inability to say no, which is a big one, and we're going to talk about that. Number 2 is hard time in expressing your point of view. Number 3, changing your behavior to get approval and validation. Number 4, feeling it's your job to make sure others are feeling good. Number 5, over-apologizing, even for things that are really not your responsibility. Number 6, editing your words after every conversation. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I should have said that, and so on. Number 7, making yourself small not to upset others. Number 8, oversharing, or even lying to make others feel comfortable. I don't know if you've ever been in a conversation where someone is sharing something about themselves and you go, oh yes, me too, where in fact you're like, well, no, that's not actually true, but you said it just so that the other person would feel more comfortable with you. Number 9, reading into others' behavior, looking for signs that you've disappointed them. Oh, that person looked at me that way, it must have been that they're really angry at me or they're really judging me, when that's actually only your read of the situation and it may have absolutely nothing to do with the other person at all. And number 10, adding unnecessary fluff to your communications to make sure no one gets upset. You know, if you're sending a message, a lot of thank yous, a lot of sorry, a lot of pleasing, a lot of justifying, and then the actual communication that you wanted to send. That's an example. So does any of these signs sound familiar to you? Have you felt like nodding at any of these? You know, when I was going through the list, did your head just go, oh yeah, I can see that I do that? I definitely have experienced most of these. And can recognize my patterns in here too. I have been a people pleaser for a very, very, very big part of my life, and it is a pattern I have to be careful with, because if I don't bring my awareness to it, the habitual wanting to go back there can be a strong pull. So you're not alone in this. Definitely not alone in this. Plenty of daughters of narcissistic mothers end up having a people-pleasing pattern. And why is it so important to become aware of the people-pleasing pattern in the context of reclaiming your fullness, of reclaiming your life? Why do we even need to reclaim our fullness actually at all? Sounds like hard work, having to be aware of all these patterns, having to be aware of all the things that trigger us and on all of that. Like, why do we do this? So, because when we carry mother wounds after a childhood with a mother who had no emotional maturity at all, or who was abusive, such as a narcissistic mother, we find ourselves living a life that is not fully ours. And that's a tragedy. This life is in fact dictated by coping strategies, patterns of reactivity, trauma responses, the need to avoid triggers at all costs, and so on. And most of these are not even conscious decisions that we make, but are dictated by unconscious patterns that we're not aware of. As a result of the abuse and emotional unsafety you have experienced as a child, you have created a persona in the attempt to keep yourself safe and protected from ever being hurt in the same way again. And this was such a necessary thing to do in your childhood in order to survive, a very wise way to survive situations that as a child cause you to feel a terror you couldn't even explain. You didn't have the tools nor the choice as a child to do it any different. So when we're looking back to those parts, we need to be super kind. When you're looking at your people-pleasing pattern, that part of you is not wrong. That part of you had to survive, had to find ways to survive through the childhood you went through. So that's okay. Only now these patterns are in the way of your happiness. They hold you back. They do not allow you to fully open up to live the life you want and deserve. Very often the result of these patterns is that we end up living a semi-life, meaning we're not authentic. And this is the cause of a lot of suffering that we experience every day. The people-pleasing pattern is one of those patterns. It's one of the ones you've developed since childhood to be loved and accepted by a mother who had no emotional maturity and who had no capacity to regulate her nervous system and therefore was not a safe parent. You've learned to play small, to look after her emotionality, to read all the signs of a shift in her emotions to keep yourself safe. You learned what was okay to say and what was not okay. What was okay to do and what was not. You've learned to perfection what was allowed and what would get you in trouble. And you may also have witnessed your own mother being a people pleaser herself in order not to be rejected in her own life because of her own wounds. Because a narcissistic mother has wounds in there, clearly from her own childhood. Or maybe the people pleasing pattern can come out of a definite want of not being as selfish as you have seen your mother being. It can be justified by you as a reaction to your mother's selfish and self-absorbed behavior. You may have observed her being so self-absorbed and so selfish that you just went the opposite way and you became the doormat for everyone as a reaction. And it's all fair enough. None of it is your fault. All of it is learned from childhood. Yet it's not helpful for you in continuing that pattern if you want to live a happy life, which I know you do. So in previous episodes on this topic, I do speak to steps to take to overcome this unhelpful pattern because of course we need support. This is not an easy overnight journey. There's going into the body, work with the trauma, release and unpack the trauma that's been stored there, understanding mechanisms, becoming aware. There's a lot of steps that can help with this. So once you've listened to this episode, go and listen to those so that you can get all the information you need to help your system in this. I'm not going to repeat all of that. Today, I want to offer you a quick and easy formula you can start implementing now to support you overcoming the people-pleasing pattern. It's kind of like a little bit of a shortcut. It's not enough by itself. This is really important. This is not enough by itself, but it's a start and it can really help you. So granted that support is needed on this journey and that working with trauma and the body is also necessary, what I'm sharing with you today is a practical hack that can truly make the difference. So people pleasers, as we said, have difficulty saying no. Yeah, does that make sense? Like, I mean, for most of us, and I'm here raising my hand, saying no for me was absolutely impossible. My mother trained me that if I said no to her, all hell would break loose. Like, it was the worst thing I could ever do in my mother's presence. So I never said no. Saying no for most of us is pretty much impossible. It feels like doing something really, really wrong. Prioritizing yourself is the most challenging thing in the world, and to the wounded part of you, it equals immediate rejection from the people around you. That's what that part feels. It may not actually be true in reality, although that part seeks confirmation that it is true. So you may have memories of you trying to say no, and people actually rejecting you or getting upset with you, and you took those as absolute confirmation that that's going to be your experience every time you say no. Because that part does that. Again, none of it is your fault. That's just what that part does when we're not aware of it. So the solution that I want to give you today is to find a way to help you in prioritizing yourself that is not an in-the-moment implementation, because that's really intense. So you're caught off guard, and all of a sudden someone is telling you something, and the automatic response is going to be say yes, go with it. Drop what you were doing, drop all your stuff, and 100% tend to this other person, because that's what a people pleaser does. So that in the moment implementation is going to be tough. That's why with this formula, you can prepare yourself beforehand. So you come to these situations already with an if-then, essentially. So if this happens, then I know what I'm going to say. And what I'm going to say is no. And you have reasons for that. So that's what the formula is. It gives you the foundations to get to that no whenever in your day you need to say that no. So the formula is this. We're considering intention, gain, and pain. And I'm going to explain what that means. You remember that intention, gain, and pain. So the first step of this formula is to set an intention. And I'm just going to hold it for a moment. So if you're already arguing within yourself, you're already rolling your eyes up to heaven. You're already going, oh my God, another one telling me I have to set intentions, because maybe it's something that doesn't work for you. I want to stop you right there and say that I absolutely get it. I was the most resistant person to intention setting for a very long time. And I've been a yoga teacher for years. I mean, we set intentions at the beginning of the lessons. If you ever you haven't, but if you're amongst those people that have come to my lessons and my classes, you know that I never did that. I actually very rarely did the whole, let's set an intention for this class, because I really couldn't agree with that. I didn't like it. It never worked. I thought it was bullshit. And if you are one of those people that love intentions, I'm sorry. That was really hard for me. I just really couldn't. So if you are among those that hate intentions, I get it. It really seemed not to work for me at all. And yet, this is where everything changed. I have found the reason why it didn't work for me. And it's in the next two steps that I'm going to share with you today, is in that gain and pain. There was the solution for me to actually start making intention working for me. Okay, so this is going to help you in make that work for you too. And this setting intention is going to be fundamental in retraining your system out of the people-pleasing pattern. Okay, so how do you set the intention, and for what time frame? What are we setting? So this is up to you, and this process is repeatable. So you can set an intention for the next hour. You can set an intention for the day. You can set an intention for the week. You can set an intention for your entire year when you're planning your year ahead, depending on what you need and what you're working on. So for example, for me, at the beginning of the year, this year is the year, my intention has been to bring more ease and flow into my everyday life. So having set that at the beginning, it's like anything that doesn't bring flow into my life. Now, there's some things I can't avoid, and that's okay. But if it's a matter of me saying yes and no, then it's a no. Because there is a theme to it. There's like an intention to it, and I want to stick with that. If it's the intention of your next hour, in your next hour you have an intention of you want to take time to yourself, and it's important to you, or you have an intention that you're gonna finish something that you need to finish for work that's really essential for you, whatever that is, you have that intention and you set it, then anything that's gonna try and derail you from that, it becomes a no. And we're gonna go now. This is incomplete yet. Remember the step 2 and 3 still to go through, but this is to give you the idea of the intention. For example, like my husband and I were having a week where the children are at a camp doing outdoor sports. So we have a few hours this week where it's just myself and himself, and we homeschool, so this doesn't happen very often. So we had set an intention that this would be like a week where we connect with each other. We spend some time together. And yesterday we thought that we could be practical and do some work, some computer work, because we needed to catch up on some things. And that was like, there was a pause, and then there was like, okay, no, that's a no. It's a very practical thing, but that is not. That doesn't go with the intention, and it doesn't work. So that's to give you an idea of what I'm talking about when I'm saying set an intention, and with the intention of supporting you with this people-pleasing pattern. Now, step 2 and 3 are going to be fundamental, because as I said, those are the ones that actually made the whole intention setting process work for me when it had never worked before. So step 2 is to get clear on the gain. So remember, the formula was intention, gain, and pain. So get clear on the gain. What are you gaining when you stay true to your intention? And this is a really important question to answer. What are you gaining when you stay true to your intention? Okay, so that's your step 2. You want to answer that question. If you're journaling, do that. Journal on it. If it's a quick, like, if you're doing it for the entire year, maybe there's a bit of journaling required. If you're doing it for a month, there might be a bit of journaling required. If you're doing it for the next hour, maybe you just want to have a quick reflection on it. Or you can write it down on a post-it and have it there for that hour. Just a reminder, what are you gaining when you stay true to your intention? In the case of myself and my husband for this week, we're gaining deeper connection. And if I go deeper than that, I know that that's going to mean that we're going to have a way better month ahead, even few months, because we did it last year and it was amazing. The result that it had for us for months afterwards. We're gaining more harmony within the family, because if myself and my husband are more connected, of course this is going to improve the relationship with the kids. And also what we're gaining is amazing inspiration for our work, because a lot of our work, my husband works with, he's a coach and mentor for husbands that want to improve their marriage, and I work with women with mother wounds, which is relational wounds. So when we connect, we are actually getting a lot of inspiration for our work. And in fact, last night I came home, wrote this episode. He came home and wrote other stuff for his own podcast and his stuff. So those are the gain. And when you're clear on those, it becomes really obvious what you're going towards. Okay, this intention actually, if you're taking an hour to yourself, what's the gain? I'm going to be more calm with my children later. My health is going to improve, like that stress that I'm feeling in the background. Well, later tonight, I'm not going to experience it. I'm going to sleep better, whatever that is. That gain, to be clear on it, is very important. Now, step 3 is what is the pain you will suffer if you derail from your intention. That is also very important. Okay? Get clear on what is the pain. So you got the gain if you stick with your intention, and then the opposite. What's the pain that you're going to suffer if you derail from that intention? So what is the pain that you're going to suffer if you have set an intention for an hour to yourself and then someone comes in and you just drop tools and go? What's that pain? How are you going to feel later? How much resentment? what stress is going to be in your system afterwards? How upset are you going to be with that person, really? Because there's going to be resentment. People pleasers, and I know it because I have been one for years, are full of resentment. Because how could you not be? You're constantly pleasing everyone and your needs are never met. There is a resentment there, and you may not be aware of it. It may be in the background, it may be in the shadow, but it's there. And sometimes we're aware of it. I definitely at times was very aware of it. And that actually helped me. The more you become aware of it, the more you want to stop this whole people pleasing, because that resentment it's not nice, doesn't feel nice. It's not nice for the people around you, but it's most of all not nice for you. It's eating you from the inside. So what is the pain you will suffer if you derail from your intention? These two things, the gain and the pain, are what fuel the intention and are what keeps you sticking with it. Setting an intention is not enough. That's why I was like, this whole intention work, it's not working, guys. Because this whole thing of, I'm sitting here and I'm setting an intention and I use all these pretty words, but how, that's meaningless ultimately. And these patterns are so ingrained. It's such a training we've received since childhood that it's not that immediate and simple that I just set an intention and all of a sudden I'm bypassing years of conditioning. That doesn't work like that. If you've experienced that, you know that it doesn't work like that. So setting an intention is not enough. Adding the gain supports you in feeling what you're saying yes to. You get, that gain is what you're saying yes to in that setting of an intention. There's a yes. I'm saying yes to connection with my husband for the week. You're saying yes to that hour for yourself and more relaxation, more calmness, more presence, whatever it is. And that yes is really important because it's what we're looking for as a help in saying no. Because when we're saying no, we're also saying yes to something. We need to know what we're saying yes to when we're saying no. Otherwise, that no, it doesn't come out. It's not powerful, especially with all the conditioning. But that's also not enough. You need to be clear about the pain you will suffer if you derail. This pain is what you're also saying no to. So that when you're saying no to the person coming to interrupt, or where you're saying no to the extra work, like myself and my husband in this week, you're not only saying no to that thing, you're also saying no to the pain that you will experience in case you decide to people please and say yes. So when you have an intention for the day, for example, and things come up that your people pleaser part wants to jump in and say yes to, having very clear the pain you will suffer if you do that will support you in the saying no to whoever you feel the need to please. The pain of that no, okay, the pain of saying no to that person, it's gonna be a smaller price to pay than the pain that you would suffer if you said yes and got distracted from your intention. Does that make sense? So that pain of I'm just gonna have to say to, I don't know, let's go with the example of having the hour for yourself, and it means that maybe your husband comes in and says something to you and you would immediately just drop everything and go, yes, 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 I'll do that for you. Because saying no to him, there's a pain, there's a fear of rejection, there's all of those subconscious things. There's a pain there, okay? But you make the pain of not sticking to your intention bigger. I'm gonna be really upset tonight. I'm gonna be stressed out. I'm gonna resent my husband for coming in and interrupting my time. I'm going to be pissed at myself because I've continued with this people pleasing pattern, and then. And it's gonna get only worse because he's gonna feel like he can do that all the time. I have no boundaries, and that's gonna make it worse. So that pain, it's actually bigger than the pain to just say no. In addition, being clear on your gain will add power to your no, as that no is actually saying yes to the gain. So yes, you're saying no to your husband for now, in that hour that you have an intention to keep for yourself. But you're saying yes to actually being more calm, more available for him later, more connected as a result of being more calm, feeling physically better, more energized, more vitality in your system. So all of that, well, that's going to actually do wonders for whatever your husband actually needed from you. You will be more resourced to even help him later if he really needed your support. So that's what you're saying yes to, and that fuels that no. A powerful no always has a powerful yes behind it. So once you have your intention, you're saying no to distractions by saying yes to the gain, and a very potent no to more pain in your life. Okay? That's the formula: intention, gain, and pain. Once you have your intention, you're saying no to anything that is distracting you by saying yes to the gain, and a very potent internal no to more pain in your life. So the clarity on gain and pain adds power to your intention and makes it something of true meaning and of true support for you catching that people pleaser part, keeping that part of you under control, in check. You're becoming more aware of it, you're keeping it in check. And then of course on top of that, you're going to do all the other work to just get to the root of that pattern, because that's important. But this is like a quick formula to help you in the day-to-day workings of it. So I hope this was helpful. Leave comments, share your experience in the comments, as always welcome. If you have questions, ask away. And also, yeah, I am gonna send you lots of love, wish you a wonderful week, and bye for now.